to Epic Time. It is, what day is today? Wednesday the 5th at noon. So this is the 5th. We are here at Sturgis. We're at Black Hills Harley Davidson. It is happening out here. I'm shocked. I've never come out here and actually spent any time in the booths or anything. This time of the rally, I usually show up, especially in my wilder days, I showed up in the heart of it. This is considered still pre-rally time, but look at that. Somebody got themselves a new wild ass right here. Check that out. Some happy dude's going to be rolling along, enjoying life. Let's see how the wild ass crew is doing. They are right next door. So they are working their tails off, and it's so funny because I try to talk to the girls. There's TLC right there, my tiny little Callie, and Renee. But I try to talk to them, and they're super hard to talk to because all of a sudden waves of people come in. I'm just like, damn. You're like, no time at all. Renee was coming over here talking to us. We got Babe the Blue bike in the background right here. That's our giveaway bike on display. We got a lot of cool stuff going on out here. It's really awesome. I'll try to get the whole banner in there right now. That's banner. If you see those sexy legs in the background underneath there, that's Hydro. He tried to get off camera because I'm doing a show, but he's got his sexy little legs, and there you go. Yesterday, he's going down Main Street of Sturgis in his shorts, cutting between some bikers who were taking up both lanes, but they wanted to hold hands too. So I was really laughing about that. So welcome to the show again. You know, we're getting people logging in. Just want to remind everybody where we're at Black Hills Harley Davidson. That was nice enough to set us up with this awesome setup right next to our friends at Wild Ass. So if you come in, you can go right from Wild Ass right through their booth and right into us. So if you're the hugging type, you just roll right in. And everybody that has music has to come in and show off their sound system. So I don't know how my microphone's working, but hopefully it drowns out a little bit of the nonsense, because some of it I like, but other of it is like, makes me want to become a little violent. So see, like, that doesn't sound bad. I don't know, can you hear the music in the background? No. See, I can see Hydro in the background. I know he's out there shaking it on the bike. So it's a good time out here, man. If you get a chance to stop by, there are vendors like crazy. We got our Chrome Works literally right across from the Wild Ass. We have Chrome Works. That's whose exhaust I use on my bike right here. You can see the little Chrome Works tip right there. And on Babe the Blue bike is rocking out a Chrome Works. Sounds good, feels good, and awesome support, awesome performance as well. Sorry, that's what happens when I try to read and talk. And hey, Goat, good morning to you. Goat sends me a message every morning for me to wake my ass up, and sometimes I'm up, but other times I'm like, damn man, this little kid gets up early, because I'm a fairly early riser, and he's beating me to it. So hello everybody. Sparks, we got Jay out there, Bert. This is pretty funny. Like, before the show's even going, YouTube has it where you can comment. So I'm just sitting here getting set up, and people are throwing comments out. So let's jump into the Hokahay, because that's what people want to check, where their people are. Again, if you got somebody you want me to throw up in the comments, just put their name and their rider number, and we'll pull them up. You know, this is I'm gonna share my screen here, and if it allows me to, let's see if I can share my screen. I want to show you the list of riders, and I'll share it back. So share screen. I don't know how this works. Maybe I won't be able to do it. So I'm going to pull up the tracker. We'll go there. I thought I'd be able to share another screen as well. But this is group 1, the northern group. I'll back out here and see how far they've gone. I do feel bad for Bubba over there in my homeland of Minnesota. Was going to get some work done quickly, and that quickly has turned into getting his mail forwarded. So that's a little bit of a bummer. I feel bad about that. We got the back of the pack. Iceman is the back of the pack if he gets his things going. That's not looking good, but that's a whole nother story. And then you follow this pack up. They are taking backcountry roads, bebopping along. That Highway 6 right there is a county road through little town after little town after little town. Then they work their way all the way across, up and around, and down into the checkpoint. There's our very own Frosty. I'll zoom in and see where she's at. She caught my eye. She is headed south on 8th right now. If you live in the town of Winstead, go out there and give my girl a high five as she flows by. And then they got them bebopping around all the way over to the checkpoint. And I tell you what, they've had a ride to get to this checkpoint. But this is where the checkpoint's at. There's some people at the checkpoint. There we got Rolo at the checkpoint. We have Ron, Wetzel, AA Ron, which makes me chuckle every time I read that. I love people with a good sense of humor too. Who's this hiding in the back in the black? Dan, 1376. So they're really killing it. Rolo, that's one of our monster riders. She is slaying it. She had the bad luck of having a ticket, but she's out there killing it. Here's some more of our monster riders. Ronimo, Raindrop, they are killing it, heading the other way. And here's the leaders out here. Teeter, who is, I don't know, it's just mad, crazy, impressive what a job Teeter's doing. I think at any given moment, I'm going to expect open. I was told the trackers would be open to the public if you are an elite finisher, and they're going to be, inspected pretty hard. If you come in and you've come in at, 20 days and you're just riding your ride, nobody's going to be analyze your thing to make sure you didn't do something wrong. If you missed 30 miles, 10 miles a mile, at the end of the day, who really gives a shit? You're doing it, and that's awesome. The GOAT wants Peter to finish 13th. Like, I love it when one of our heroes is so into his number that he doesn't want him to win it. He doesn't want him to come in the top 10. He wants you to come in 13th. So that's going to be a little tricky this year when you have a whole nother group, because right now, like, this group is, in first place, of their group. But how that compares, we won't know. That's the suck and the good of this year's challenge. We really don't know. We won't get a handle on it until they go to the halfway and they get working on the opposite way. So you really have no idea. They could be in first place or 15th place. I really don't know. By judging by those riders that I know, your Dirty Dan, your Roadrunner, and Teeter, I know all three of those very well. Roadrunner and Teeter are good friends of mine. Dirty Dan, I obviously know through the Hoka community because he won in 2024. So that tells you, obviously, the dude can ride. And he's a rider. Young guy, fit, and he can ride. So I don't think they're too far off the lead if they're not in the overall lead. But let's get down to group 2 over here. Here's Chrisman, and this is really starting to spread out with some of these riders. I was noticing that. It's like crazy, but there's Tomcat. Look at how he's catching up to that group. Sorry, man, I got a little ADD where I'm like bounce around and see Pretty Butterfly, and Tomcat's my Pretty Butterfly at the moment, so my bad. But he's catching up. He's caught up to a couple people there that he's riding with. When there's so many people in the group, you have to zoom in like crazy close. But there's our monster, Walter Mays, right here. It's a good group right there. So look at the riders, the difference you have here in the numbers. So you have some first-time riders, some looks like 2000, probably 16 riders. Phillips, you got some riders from the 2022 class. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty good. That's a pretty cool group right there he's in. That group is not going to stay together. Tomcat is making up time. I don't anticipate him hanging out with that group very long. But here we go. Let's see where there's English up here. And there's English. This is where it does get a little confusing. You have to know the leaders and know how they're rolling, because they're crisscrossing and crossing paths. And see this group over here. They're going down and then back up. And you got to go back up, and then you're cranking around, and Here's Yas up here, who was doing a little bit of trouble. Got some people hitting the booth here. Oh, look at that. Hydro's back here working the monster angle, so that's pretty awesome. But anyhow, back to butterflies and pretty butterflies strolling around. But it's pretty good, you know, how good that is. And yeah, speaking of Dirty Dan, he did the ultimate coast to coast, which put him up in Alaska, and then got a different bike and came right straight to the Hokahay. So yeah, like that's a beast. The ultimate coast to coast is Key West to Dead Horse, Alaska. An incredible ride. I would love to do that on that bike, is that Pan Am, but you know, I think my mind says let's go ride, let's do that, that'll be fun. And then that first time I tip over and eat the ground, I'll be like, oh, that's right, you're old and kind of fat, stay off the Pan Am and get back on a nice bagger that you can hold on to until you tip. So that's all good. But I dig that. People here talking about the route, 30 miles south of the home where Frosty is. Then after the checkpoint, they circle north 5 miles. That's awesome. So thank you for making that sign. That's greatly appreciated. And it is like a drug to people. I talked about this yesterday, and it's crazy how cool that is to see when you're a rider, and it goes by and somebody has it on there, and it's perfect. Here we go, a friend. Let's see if we get it all. I'm just reading this for the first time too. A friend, Gil 1350, is the St. Martin. They're doing great for the first time, and that is awesome. That is really cool. Here's a question. I'll answer a question here quick. What happens if the tracker doesn't update locations? I don't think they've had a lot of problems with the tracker this year, as long as people charge them. I know there's something in the rules about that. You got to charge some stuff and make sure it stays charged. But I think to charge them, but for the most part, it should update unless they have a problem. And if they do have a problem at a checkpoint, they're going to get that. And there's other ways you could track it as well to prove some mass confusion on both ends. Really crazy on both routes, the north and the south. They got people, you know, not one guy who doesn't see something right, but 20 people are on the wrong side. Like that's telling you that route is pretty legit. So I like that. I think that's how it should be. And yeah, Ridgeway's tracker is stuck. Yeah, so that's awesome. So I think that's cool that, you know, when they ride with somebody else, it's, you know, you don't really need your tracker. Like he's a veteran of the Hokahay. He can let somebody know, hey, I'm riding with rider number 1322, rider number 873, whatever the case is. It's really good. So that's pretty cool. And I think it's really cool when people get to, there's some booze fighters that are riding that are good friends of mine. I know a lot of riders, but for me to walk through the lines and hug them, you know, I could feel the emotion for the first time that family feels. And, you know, when they take the thing, and she's out there on her own, and she's finding a spot to sleep at night. When I find a spot to sleep at night, I don't really care where it is, man. I'm tired, man. I'll stop on the side of the road. I'll stop and sleep next to homeless encampment. I don't give two shits. I'm 6'1". I'm not the mugging type. And it's just a different perspective when these girls have to find a place to sleep, and you know, they're finding things, and it's not just like, where can I tuck my bike, where can I, you know, get into and sleep a little bit and get a good night's sleep. They have to think about, you know, where is safe. I can't put myself in harm's way, so they got to look for a place to sleep much more different than somebody like me. And there might be guys out there that have the same worries and the same things like that, but I travel very equipped and not a whole lot of worries. And like I said, at 6'1", 220 pounds, I don't think, you know, there's not a whole lot of mugging going on. And one thing I did, you know, I try to tell some riders is, as girls, when they find a place to sleep, nobody knows that's a girl. Your average person looks at that decked out Harley, all that shit, and somebody sleeping next to it, they assume it's some badass biker because little softies are getting rooms at the Holiday Inn, not at, you know, roadside sleeping next to a bike. So I think that is one part that is they have on their sides, is people aren't expecting that. So this is you know, comment from my wife. Hi, honey. Glad to read your comment, but I can't wait to talk to you. It's all good, but I get a better view of what my wife went through than I did before. So I think that's pretty epic. And so my hat's off to all of the husbands, wives, brothers, sisters that are watching their riders ride, and the things that happen on the road. Like I talked to Chad yesterday. He was watching Frosty's tracker, and it turned sideways and turned red, and then somebody else's turned red right after that. And that's a telltale sign that something bad has happened, and they have, you know, tracker stopped, they're on the road, and the next biker stopped. Dale, Pee-wee, you know, so they're really over here killing it. And here's Hyde. You know, Hyde's out there enjoying the sunshine, not riding a hardtail. Another one that rides for the monsters. Let's see, I haven't seen the comments. Let's see if anybody is asking about a rider. You know, be all good. All right, not a lot of rider comments. So I want to see where Jug is at, and then I'm going to play a little video to make you laugh. So let's see if we can get to Jug. What number is Jug? 1336. 1336. Here's Jug. Where's he at? Jug and George have teamed up. They're like in the 80s, like Nick Bockwinkel, tag team champions. So all-star wrestlers. But they have teamed up. They appear to be making a pretty good team. They're pushing each other. You know, they're going and they're enjoying their ride and riding hard. So they're going to be coming into the checkpoint pretty quick. But I do want to show you a quick video that I have of Jug, because it just makes me kind of laugh. Let's see, is this the one right here?
Well, you got to bring it to
yeah, we're going to start this over. But you got to listen to this. You got to listen to this. So turn your speakers up, because it's kind of funny to hear them talking about it.
Hey, George. What rides say about packing too much for the Hoka-Hey?
This is what happens when it's too valuable. You got to bring it to shipper home.
Here we are, sitting at the post office, mailing stuff home.
And the best part about that was, yesterday I highlighted people at the post office and I said, I bet they're mailing shit home. They are into it now, and they are, you know, realizing their bike is heavy and they got a bunch of extra shit. And I preach about it, but every time I've done it, I've thrown shit away, given shit away, and mailed it home. So it's pretty funny. It's really, really funny to see somebody stopping at the post office after I spent 6 months telling them, don't bring too much shit, don't overpack, don't, you know, you're not gonna need this. I literally told George, empty your right saddlebag, find a place for everything that's in it, and that will make you get rid of all the things you don't want. So, yeah, exactly. But here's somebody with a comment, why would anyone want to do this? I hear that all the time. You know, why would anybody want to do that? They want to do it because it is a challenge. They want to pit themselves up against the best riders in the world to see how they stack up. Some want to see it by a competitive standpoint, how I stack up against all these other riders. Some people want to do it because they want to see if they have what it takes mentally. They want to see if their body, physically, and their bike have what it takes to do 11,000 miles in 14 days. And a lot of people find out they don't. A lot of people, it takes 1, 2, maybe 3 tries at this before they get it dialed in enough that they successfully do it. Other people are naturals and it comes to them easily. Other people have a lot of military background people have a, I don't know, an advantage, but they definitely have a head start because, you know, you spend 20 years in the Army, the Navy, the Marines, whatever the case is, you know, you got 20 years of a lot of suck, and you realize how to just embrace it and get your job done. And this is just a job, and a lot of people with that mindset just realize this is just a task. This is a task. This task is 14 days, and I'm going to do it and stay focused. The people who do not stay focused can end up dead, out, or at home. And I can't even stress that enough. Like, if you're on this and you're watching a show like this and you're not stopped, then you're not in the Hoka-Hey. if you're watching live as you're rolling down the road, then you're not focused on what you're doing, and that's just a fact. You know, if you want to post a video, you want to do some shit, then do that in the morning before you get rolling. Post your stuff, be internet famous, promote your stuff. I'm all about it. I did it every time I've ridden, but this is not your typical ride. If you're at home watching this and you're like, oh, this would be nothing, 10,000 miles, you're ripping around. I watch TV, I check my emails. I'm a very productive worker when I'm on my bike. That's awesome. That's not this ride. You're not. If you're productive on your bike doing anything other than riding in the Hokahay, you will end up out, way back, or dead. And that's the worst case scenario, but it happens. People wreck all the time because they're distracted. And you only have to be distracted. Lose your mental focus for one turn, one moment, one car, one deer, one elk, whatever that is. It only has to happen once. And if you're like this, checking anything other than your directions and listening to a video, making a video, and you're just testing fate. And that fate doesn't last. Your luck will run out. And when it runs out, there's catastrophic, penalties to pay for that. So, I try to tell everybody, man, just do your best. But when you get into the Hokahay, be in the damn Hokahay, nothing else. Like, be a Hokahay rider and commit to giving it 110%. If you're doing a bunch of other shit, you're only giving it 75%, and that 25% could really, really get you, and it's not a joke. So, that's it. Like, this is a I only compete with myself, and that's how I am with everything. I can ride. I've always said, if I did the Hokahay and they took every rider out of it and it was just me, I don't think my time would be any different, because I don't really pay attention to anybody. I don't really give a shit about anybody else. And I mean, it's easy to say that, but I don't know for sure. But I think it would be very close, because I'm a competitive brain. Like, when I set out to do something, I want to do what I do as best I can, and that's this, And it's really a special event, and it's pretty awesome. And all these monsters all have a give butter. I tried to get a link to be up, but if you go to our website and see that, to support them, there's a link right there in the Hokahay section that you can get to it to donate. You can pick any one of these riders. I'd like to promote, your Teeters and your Roadrunner, who are out there in Group 1, killing it, and have been killing it for days on end. We got riders in Group 2, your Jug, your George, they're out there killing it as well. We have a long list of riders, and I could go on and on and on. Some of them have had tough rides. Rolo got a ticket, but Henry's out there still killing it. We got J-Rod out there, Jason, Ronimo, he's out there. Iceman's got some trouble. Value's out there, another tiny little girl out there killing it. We got Twang out there, which I have some really nice video of Twang. Let's see, I'm gonna get this going right here. There's a nice picture of Twang we got from Chase. That was pretty awesome to see, come in. So I got some pictures I want to show here quick. These are riders like out in the wild that Chase is catching as they roll through. Cool video. That's Taco right there. Let me rewind that. I like this kind of slow-mo. Play that again for you, because I got it. I dig that, He slowed it down so we can see the riders, see their bikes going through, and really hit it. Thank you, Nicole, for putting that up. See, that's just awesome. I like seeing that. He's got it toned down so we can see it. But here's a couple other riders out there ripping it. Another quick little video. There's Twang. She's got like gorilla strength hands. She stands like this tall, and well, I'm sitting down, so if I was standing up, she's like this tall. But she's got gorilla hands. I don't know how she can possibly massage your back like that, but she's incredible. After this ride, I feel guilty that she's gonna ride 11,000 miles, and I'm gonna hit her up for a back rub, because I'm gonna talk about how, my back's sore from, doing this. So maybe I'll hold off a little bit. But here's another picture. That's awesome. This is a lot of fun here. I love the bikes. There's Taco. Let's see. I'm sure Gritty is in here in this picture too. Gritty Bell is, let's see where Gritty is. What number is she? I really got to think. I'm really always 1146. I'm always a little, you know, just in awe of, you know, the girl riders. You know, how they've really transformed riding and how people look at it, you know. So it's kind of fun because, like I said before in another show, people traditionally think, oh, guys, you got to be this crazy biker. Yeah, so there's Twang, Gritty Bell. Let's zoom out a little bit, see who they're still with, where they're at. Yeah, so they're doing good. They're cranking along. They'll be coming to checkpoint in no time. The Monsters has a lot more riders in that northern group than the southern one. And I just screwed up my screen, so bear with me. There we go. That is awesome. So it's really cool. That's what I thought. I thought that was Gritty and the bike in that picture right here. Oh, wrong one. Right here. I think that's Gritty Bell right here. Her blue bike. I'm sure that looks, it's so funny. I can recognize people's bikes and pants. Like, that's her pants. So I know that's her. So that's an awesome. Gritty and Gritty right here in the blue. And I'm moving around like you can see my cursor. But in the blue and Twang on the orange. And you can see how they have their hydration set up so they can, you know, stay hydrated and drink lots of water. That's pretty awesome. And if you guys want to screenshot past this, people, this is how the links to the show itself. So that's pretty fun. So screenshot that. I don't know if I got any other videos to show you. I got some cool pictures. You know, I like this picture. It's pretty cool. It kind of shows you the, you know, them actually ripping. See the angle of them going around the corner. And how were the groups divided? It was my understanding the groups were divided by how you signed up. You walked in and signed up, and those that walked to the right signed up with group 1. Those that went to the left signed up with group 2, and you got a phone number that you were assigned to where they send text out. So I think that's kind of funny. Like right now somebody's roasting their ass off in Texas, and they're like, God dang it, I could have signed up in group 1 and be where there's green grass and the Northeast, and now I got to wait to get up there. And I haven't really looked. I've been so busy getting to Sturgis and getting our booth set up, and we'll get some cool video of our booth for the next show. But it's been a task for me to get from Illinois to South Dakota, get everything done, get it all done. So I really haven't had a chance to like focus on the weather, see who's getting what, but I haven't heard any complaints either. So I think the front moved out of the East Coast just in time, because I live on the East Coast and they had been getting a lot of rain. My wife was there. She told me, you know, they were getting pounded with rain, and it's kind of, you know, the weather can be a big factor, but they're out there killing it. And guys down south, you know, they got the heat. I don't need to look at the weather in Texas. I know it's damn hot. But here you got guys ripping around, and they're going back to, you know, Illinois. So here's Yos over here ripping around. Here's English. Like, I don't have no idea where they're going, but it's just, to the average person, you think, why are they going there? Well, that's just it. Why are they going there? They take a lot of these riders through, you know, Indian lands, reservations, state forest, national forest. It's a lot of cool stuff to do that they got going, that you go and see. So this route is super awesome. You get a chance to do a okay because you want to test yourself. You will not be disappointed by the roads you ride and the things you get to see. So here's Jeannie. She's talking about it being hot in Texas. It's always hot in Texas. You got like a week in January where you get ice and snow, and everybody dies because it's freezing as they slide in the ditch. But otherwise, it's always hot there. I guess you got some rain a little bit, but that's it. See if I got any other pictures loaded up, and we can definitely. I better to get myself back on the stage too. I don't know if I'm off at my commentary, but I think you'd probably rather look at. Oops, I got it figured out now. But they're constantly working. I tell you what, the wild ass crew. It amazes me that the whole world that rides a motorcycle, that anybody would ride a motorcycle without a wild ass. I think it's weird. Like, I would think they would be sold out of shit in the first 15 minutes. And I always say, if people could read my mind and know what I know, they would definitely never ride without one. I mean, I used to complain and ride 150 miles, my ass getting sore, squirming around. Next time I had to get gas, it'd be 125, and pretty soon every 100 miles I'm looking for an excuse to stop. You know, and then I sit. Right now I'm sitting on my wild ass, and it's not just for motorcycles. It can be used as a pillow in a pickup truck. I found that out on the way here. And it also works very good to sit on when you're using a pack-out toolbox as a chair. So I have a pack-out toolbox, and I don't know if you see the top of a pack-out, man, they're not even, they're awful. And I got my wild ass underneath me, and it's comfy as can be. Got a little backrest. It's awesome. So that's about all I got. You know, yeah, I like that, the butt buffer. But these are so nice, and I can't believe how they changed the game of riding. Let's see, and you got to have a strong brain game with everybody crisscrossing your head back. Like, this is like, to the average person watching this, and here I'm talking, but I'm not showing, so, you know, the average person wonders how I made it through high school. And, you know, it's like I went in a country place where, you know, they kind of just like shoot you through, and they're like, they had you stamped. You know, like when you went to Hogwarts, they got sorted. In my high school, you got sorted too. They're like, you know, calculator, college, trade school, shovel, sledgehammer. You know, and I was, you know, trying to really push to be a shovel runner, but I ended up at the sledgehammer to start things out. So, you know, like for me to try to figure this stuff out, you know, I'm gonna need some help. People tell me like, oh, here's the top 10 because this is a chaotic zoo, and I'm very familiar with it. And it's fun to see, you know, your guys out front. They kind of let you know the route and let you know. But these down here, man, I don't know if somebody's lost or they passed, gotten the lead. It's crazy. You know, we got the Toolies here heading this way. They're heading to the checkpoint. These people over here, you know, you look and you got English right here and Thule right here. Oh, Thule must be in third place. No, Thule's in 23rd place, but they're only 10 miles apart. You know, they could high five here if they were a couple roads over. And, you know, it's pretty fun to see. But you got to really be able to pay attention and know the checkpoints up here. And it really helps if you look at the red bikes. They always stop at a checkpoint and kind of pile in there. Some sleep there, some get food there, some have families show up. But this is it. Here's Twitch right here. They're going up, and then they got to come down. Here's the Natchez Trace right here. They're ripping all the way down that. Hopefully nobody's getting too many speeding tickets, and then they got to work their way over. But there's certain riders I don't need to know where they are. Chrisman, yes, he's hauling ass, and he's in the top 5 to 10. I know that because I know him, and he's never changed. He's always a beast, one of the most consistent riders you'll ever see. Here's a beautiful rider right here you can pay attention to. Here's somebody who rides hard, does her thing, and has a great story. So when you want to follow people that have a story to tell, 1375 has a great story to tell, and she's a wonderful, wonderful person. So it's kind of fun to watch that. All right, let's see if there's anybody else we want to check out. I can check the comments again, see if there's anybody highlights. I got a cousin, a brother, whomever. Yeah. Here's the goat. I helped him with this math homework one time, and he still passed. I don't know 100% sure if I was helping you with your math or if I thought we were in math class. So, I don't know. I might have been helping you, or you might have been teaching me, something like that. Yeah, Chad, there'll be signs. And teachers in school could see those signs and be like, yes, here's, you know, like, but they don't expect you to ace chemistry because they know you're going to be running a shovel shortly. So they're like, yes, you're a C student. That's awesome. And yes, you do get disqualified for any ticket. And that is assuming you have any kind of integrity. And when you get said ticket, you stand up and you say, I got a ticket. I got a ticket. It sucks. I don't want to take away from anybody else, meaning, you know, if you're going to come in second place, third place, fourth place, first place, and you have a ticket in your pocket and you haven't told anybody, in my opinion, strictly my opinion, you are taking away from the experience of somebody else. So if I come in first place and I have a ticket in my pocket, you're taking away from the person who actually came in first place. They're celebrating you, but you didn't win it because you got a ticket. And those people that own it, well, at least they owned it. I think they took away, and they should tell somebody they own it before they hit the finish line, but at least they own it. There's people who get tickets right now, stuff them in their pocket, and be like, hell with this, man, I don't care, I got a speeding ticket. You know, I don't like that rule. Okay, well, you don't have to like that rule. It's still a rule. And if you get a ticket, you're done. Doesn't mean you're done. They don't shut your tracker off till you go home. They just say you're not going to be considered a finisher. You can still ride the route. Rolo is out there still giving it her all, still out there kicking ass, and she got a speeding ticket. But she doesn't, it doesn't change her mindset of, oh, I'm not going to do the whole, hey, now I'm going to go home and pout about my speeding ticket and bitch about the rules. The rules are for everybody, and everybody has to dig deep and have the integrity to be like, yeah, well, I screwed that up, but I got a ticket. And there's no shame in getting a ticket. Like, I don't care if somebody gets a ticket. I tell them, ride your ride. Ride the ride. Enjoy the ride. Get as much out of it as you can. Yes, you got a ticket. Like, that happens. Your bike breaks down, and you're not a finisher. You don't get to finish it. But, you know, that's much worse. But you get a ticket. You ride 11,000 miles. You're in a hurry. You're trying to do this. You're tired. You're not paying attention to something. You get a ticket. All right? I tell people, try to maintain that and understand when to slow down a bit. You know, it's really hard on a motorcycle because speed limits are way too slow for a motorcycle. I don't care what anybody out there says. If the speed limit's 60, a motorcycle should allow it to be 70, 75. Just automatically. Like, whatever it is, it should be 10 to 15 higher on a motorcycle. Because it's much easier to navigate around a problem. It's much easier to stop. It's much easier to go. We are riding a missile with brakes. So if you need to get out of trouble, man, you downshift and tap that throttle, that thing is gone. You're laid back. I'm in my F-250 and I run into trouble, I'm wiping out 3 families in minivans and they're all getting smacked. You know, that's not the case with a bike. So, you know, I don't think that, you know, there's a lot of shame with the speeding ticket. Everybody's gonna speed. People say you didn't speed, I call bullshit. You know, you might just speed, but okay, you might not be doing 80 and a 60. But if you're doing 65 and a 60, you're still speeding. So go tell somebody else, I don't care to hear it. You know, when people say, oh, there's no speeding allowed, no whatever. There's no reckless speeding. Everyone in the world speeds. The freaking cops driving around your town are speeding. They're doing 35 and a 30. They're doing 33 and a 30. I don't care what you say, that's still speeding. So it's all good, you know, and there's just own it. Have your integrity. You know, have some integrity, own it, and just get on, man. At the end of the day, you can sleep at night, and you can be, you know, yes, I got a ticket, but I don't have to hide that wondering who's going to find out down the road. Okay, yeah, I won it, but who's going to find out I got a ticket, and I shouldn't have? Okay, I came in 3rd place. Like, I don't want to come in 10th place and not tell somebody I got a ticket. I couldn't sleep, you know, knowing I did that. That's just me, but you know, that's that. So yeah, I think the speed limit should be 95. You know, especially on the interstates, it's 95, and you know, it's great. And yeah, we've had 3 monsters get tickets so far. So Chaos, Rolo, and Loco have all stepped up and said, guess what I got? You know, sucks to be me. I have to embrace the suck, you know, and that's the part. But I've said it on other shows, there's a difference between the suck days and the oh shit. And you have a suck day, you just have to embrace it and live it. And that's that. And that's part of the challenge. Like, that's, like it, hate it, whatever, it's part of the challenge. And I believe that avoiding popo and knowing when to go fast and when to go slow is integral part of this ride. You have to know when you're coming into a town. You've been out in the Texas country where you haven't seen a town, a person, or anything in 4 hours. Speed limit's 80. You're out there doing 95, which the Popo doesn't even give two shits. They don't even care. English is out there. I'm looking at his right now. He's out there. Hyde is out there as a monster. Gopher, they're out there in Texas. Well, when you coming into a little town, you got to have enough sense to slow down. The speed limit's 40, then you better be doing 45. I'm not going to hassle you for doing 45. You come in doing 60, which seems really slow after doing 90, but 60 and a 40, well, don't be shocked when you get a ticket. And if you're riding around and you're not paying attention, you're on your phone, you're checking text, you're staying up on all the social media, and you blow by a cop and you get a ticket, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, you are not riding the ride how it's meant to be ridden, and you got to pay for that. So there's a lot to it. So I hope that these riders out here in the front, all of them are running clean rides, no tickets, no nothing. I hope it's very hard. Yoss could run this ride and ride it like a champion. He could ride it to Woodstock. He could ride from Woodstock to Rhode Island, or Rhode Island back to Woodstock, and be 4 miles from the finish line and get a speeding ticket. That sucks. There's nothing that would suck more. Doesn't change the fact it happened. You get a speeding ticket, you're done. If that was me in that case, I would pull over and go to sleep and let all the top 20 go in and just hold my head in shame as they cross the finish line, but that's part of life. Somebody in 22 got one in Wyoming at the very end. I think Jason got it. I'm not 100% sure. Somebody will comment who did that. Maybe the next show I'll bring it up. But somebody got it. And at the very end, we're coming out of Wyoming. We just had to go through a little bit of the Black Hills and into the finish line in South Dakota. And they got a ticket at the very end of Wyoming. And it just sucks, man. You go from 15th place, 10th place, whatever, and it's just awful. There's no two ways to put it. It just sucks, but that's part of the suck. And everybody knows Yosir is killing it. Everybody knows Teeter is killing it on the other side with Roadrunner. And Dirty Dan and Ren, everybody knows they're killing it. But they are far from done, far from out of the woods, with everything. So this leader thing, it's so fluid and so dynamic. It's like it could change in a day. Like, nobody's even close to the halfway point yet, and it could just change like that in a blink of an eye. The top 4 at either side could get speeding tickets. The top 4 could have bike issues. The top 4 could have animal issues. I don't want anything bad to happen to anybody. I want them all to have good, clean runs, and may the best rider prepared for this challenge come in first. That's all I want, but speeding tickets, they happen, and that's an art. When somebody gets a speeding ticket and says, well, they're still the champ, they still the 5th place, they got a speeding ticket, whatever. It's like, there's an art to not getting a speeding ticket. And it's not fair to the other 270 riders who didn't get one to ignore that rule and be like, all right, there's no, all right, we'll just ignore that because, it happened to you or whatever. Like, get a speeding ticket, just own it. Just own it. That started in 18, was the first time I saw somebody own it, and they came in 4th place. They came in 4th place, got to the finish line, took a picture, and walked up to Mama Beth, the organizer of it, and said, I got this wherever I was. His name is Go Home Ken. It cost him everything. It cost him 4th place. It cost him being a top 5 finisher. He fought, he wrecked a bike, got back on it, did all of the things you have to do to come in the top 5. He did it. And then went, Beth, I got this. And it was over. It was over just like that. And, and tell me that wasn't hard to own. There's nobody that would have known. Go Home Ken, if he would have stuffed that in his pocket, nobody would have ever known. What, am I going to go run a background check on Go Home Ken 2 days later? No. I'm never going to do that. But it's very, a lot of integrity to do it, you know, and a lot of heart and soul to do it. And to me, that's more important than ever finishing this thing, is riding it right and finding out what kind of person you are on the inside. You know, the ride will change you, and if it changes you, you know, or helps you find yourself and changes how you look at life, well, then it did its job, and that's what it's all about. And a lot of people will really have a change in how they look at life when they're done with this. And a GPS is not allowed. They're given turn-by-turn directions. I don't have anything to hold in my hand, but it's turn-by-turn directions. You leave a dealership, it'll say, leave Southern Thunder parking lot and take a right on, you know, Thunder Alley, the road leading out. Then it'll say take a right on 2nd Street, take a left on, you know, Marianne Avenue, and so on, and so on, and so on. All the way until the next checkpoint. 2,500 to 3,000 miles is what that's going to take, and it's a lot, and it's really, really crazy to see it and to feel it. And you know, I was just laughing because I just realized I never did share this thing to the other groups like I am supposed to do. I got literally 2 jobs here: talk and share shit, and I never shared it. So I gotta do better. But you know, when I say do better, it's like I have my limits. I have my limits. I didn't get a good breakfast. You know, Hydra's over here. He's over here eating a good breakfast, steak and a bunch of crap, and he was gonna share it with me, but he's got really horrible. He's a Viking too, man. He's a big giant Viking, and he has like spicy shit on his sandwich, and then he wants to share it with me. So I'm not sure if he actually got that to share with me, or if he just got that, you know, so he could eat it all and be nice and offer it. Like, hey man, you want some of my sandwich? Even though nobody would eat that shit at all, with peppers, steak, and everything. I don't know where he went, but he's pretty big, so I can't give him too much crap. But there, I did my one job. But that's how you get it. You get directions, and you got to figure it out. You get lost, you got to look at a map, a paper map, and you have to look at that and figure it out. And that's why these people are missing it. You know, people who don't miss a single turn from point A to point B, the whole way, the whole okay. Yeah, I question if they're not looking at the GPS built into their bike, but that's on them. If you want to live with that, you wanna go down. No, I'm good. I'll drink water. Now he's trying to kill me, give me Red Bull, and anyhow. So we're all good. Let me check these comments again. Yeah, you want to know something? You heard that I'm pretty good at talking my way out of tickets. Yeah, I tell you what, man, I have given a class. You go to our YouTube channel and scroll down. I gave a little talk about how to avoid tickets. And you want to know, like, if you're somebody's rider, you tell them this. Every cop you're ever going to run into, if you're on a bike, a car, whatever, every cop, and I've learned this because I've been pulled over literally hundreds of times. In 1 year, I got pulled over on my motorcycle 24 times, or 23 times. So I have my fair share of getting pulled over, and every popo I've ever met is like a mirror. Whatever you give, you're gonna get. And that goes for probably 95% of stops. If you're cooperative, you're jovial, you know, you're whatever, then you get that back. You give them attitude and dick, you're gonna be a dick. Well, guess what? The dude writing you the ticket's gonna be a dick right back. So if you're gonna talk to him like a dick, well, don't be surprised when that guy says, yeah, here's your ticket. Hey, I'll be disqualified. I don't give a shit. You're a dick, you know? And it goes a long ways how you are, and that reaction you get, that you put out, you get back. For me, I'm pretty honest when I get pulled over. I just tell them like it is, and I tell them like, hey man, like, my bad. You know, this is what I'm doing and this and that, and I own it, and I move on, and hopefully I get a written warning. But I've been pulled over twice in these challenges, and I've gotten a written warning both times. One for passing illegally, which I had to give it the gas because there was some traffic gonna come, but anyways, and the other time, you know, was just straight up speeding, and I got out of both of them. So, you know, and just like that, I could have not finished those two. But you know, talking is a big key, and I tell you what, when you do that and you own it, there's comments they put in the comments, "You're a dick," and the next time you get pulled over, that guy sees that comment. Oh, this guy's a dick. He's gonna fight with you. He's gonna argue. He's gonna do whatever. Word travels. Now, I mean, and I just can't even tell you how important that is. And I try to tell riders that you get pulled over, sit on your bike, let them come to you. Sit there with your hands on the bars. Let them come to you. Let them get at ease. They see a guy with a Hoka cut. They have no idea if this is a club, if this is a challenge, if this is a riding club, a three-piece club. They have no idea. They've never heard of it. So they're on edge. They're going to be defensive. And if you have an attitude or anything, man, like, you're bringing on trouble. So when you get pulled over, hands on the bars, man, chill out. Let them come to you. Ask them if I get my wallet out. Hey, man, my stuff's in my tank bag. Can I get it out? My stuff is in the tour pack. I purposely leave my book that I carry with my insurance, my registration in my tour pack. Because when I get pulled over, it gives me more time to talk to them. So if they ask me, if you know, I have my license registration, sometimes you'll hand it to a guy who's angry, and he just takes it and goes back to his car and writes a ticket. Man, once they're in the car and they got your shit, your negotiation, your pleading is over. Like, your time to talk and be friendly and be nice and let them understand. I am a charity rider, man. I do not want this. I am honest with them. I tell them, like, look, I understand I was going 80 and a 50 or 80 and a 60, or sometimes, I mean, I got pulled over doing 113 and a 55, you know, and I did not get a ticket. So that was not on a challenge. That was just me riding like an idiot. But, you know, I tell them the truth. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I have this to do. I get it, man. You got a job to do. You do your job, but understand that I don't want it. I'm doing this charity work. I ride 80, 100,000 miles a year. I want to try to keep my record clean. And a lot of times they understand that. And it all starts with you not being a dick. You know, I can't stress that enough. Like, that's where it starts. Don't be a dick. I watch YouTube. I watch Facebook all the time. There's a million people out there. Don't answer questions. I don't answer questions. I don't answer questions. You know, everybody that's a dick and comes up with all this YouTube shit and all this Facebook stuff, it cracks me up because they all have one thing in common. They got a really shitty driving record. You know, but they got all the answers. Oh, don't talk, man. Just don't say nothing. Don't talk. Well, guess what, man? I tell them, man, hey, my bad. Yeah, I was speeding. I just got pulled over on my 35,000 mile ride twice. My good luck charm, my wife, got us pulled over. But I got pulled over. He says, do you have any idea how fast you're going? I said, I have no idea. I'm sure I'm speeding, and that's why we're here. But I didn't have any idea. You know, I had a ballpark. And he said, do you know what the speed limit is? I looked up. I go, well, that sign says 60. So I'm guessing, you know, we're in a 60 or it was a 55. I don't really know. And he, you know, it was a 55, and I was doing 75, and I was like, or 76. I think it was 21 over. And I told him, I said, hey, man, I don't know. I said, you know, I know I was speeding, but whatever. I said, whatever your shit says, I'll go with that. Like, I don't know exactly, but you got a pretty nice car. It's pretty nice shit in there. I'm guessing it reads pretty accurately, and he was right. And that is so true. Hands off the bar, and you just be cool, and you be cool, and, you know, give it to them, and that's that. And, you know, I'm not sitting there throwing myself under the bus. You know, like, yeah, I don't know what I'm getting pulled over for. Did you see me doing 95 and then passing the no passing or what? You know, but they ask me, I'll tell them, you know, were you passed? Yeah, like, I don't care. And then if they're going to give me a ticket, I tell them, like, I'll see you in court. I let them know I'm coming to court. I'm coming, and I tell them why. I'm not coming to tell them I'm going to fight. I'm coming to negotiate with the prosecutor to get it not a moving violation. That's my goal. I'm trying to keep my insurance down. I get it, man. I'll pay your fine. I'll do it. I know I was in the wrong. We're all good. So that's pretty good. Yeah, so Iceman, there's the update on him. He's best case, he's going to be rolling on Friday. So his Hoka challenge is going to be done. He doesn't have that kind of time off. If I have my way, I'm going to talk him into being part of the show, and he's going to roll on and get some pictures, and he's going to join the Snapshot and take some of the pressure off him and kind of catch some. That's going to be my goal, but that's all I got. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, blaming it on Amy. I get pulled over twice. I did 35,000 miles. She rode with me for 3, and I got pulled over twice with her on the back. So I think they just caught a glimpse of her and wanted to check it out and see if I was just, they saw me, and they're like, the only way he's going to get that is he had to kidnap her. So I think they were thinking I was a human trafficker, and they were just doing a safety check is all it was, and that's why they gave me the free off, because they're like, he's not getting that on his own. She has to be an unwilling participant in this marriage. So I was happy to tell him we've been married 33 years, and she's still here on her own free will. At least I think she's at home still. I haven't been there in a hot minute, but that's that. We'll see you guys at 7. I'll be here at the booth. They close about that time. I want to get one last look over here at Wild Ass over here killing it. So they're just non-stop work. They just work. They're just like busy little bees over there. So there's TLC and Renee. They always outsell the guys at whatever booth they're at. It's like they got to get clones of these girls because they just outselling the guys at every opportunity. I don't know if Craig will chime in later and call me a liar, but I know that's for sure. So that's all good. Yeah, you told him to come home. He doesn't need to come home. He's already going to be up here, and that's it. So, yeah, I'm a nut, but I'm your nut. So that's it. I'll see everybody later. See you at 7. Peace. Enjoy watching the tracker because these people are savages.